Breaking news! Bungie has just recently posted their newest TWID. And my, folks, you better get in your seats and be ready because this is one lengthy TWID. It is so lengthy. It is so lengthy that it might even take 40 minutes. But tune in, folks, because Real Player Z is gonna read it off. Back to you, Mr. Z. Ah, yes, thank you, Mr. Z. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another weekly TWID. And here we go. This week in Destiny, we are getting ready for our next developer stream. These things take time, so we are also telling you all about one of the biggest systemic changes we're introducing with the Edge of Fate. It's a topic that you may not have heard about yet, so get ready for it and for the rest of our weekly topics, of course. Save the date. All dungeons and Rite the 9, introducing additive melee damage, exotic armor tuning preview, last call for the final shape Bungie rewards. Tune in to our next developer stream. Join us on Tuesday, June 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific time as we give an in-depth look at the Edge of Fate. We'll have the dev team on the floor ready to share many details about Armor 3.0 and the new ability stat system to show you some new weapons and more. As you can see, you got the Destiny, the Edge of Fate poster developer live stream part 1. Oh, there's going to be a part 2. Tune in June 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Everyone watching a developer stream on the Bungie Twitch channel for at least 15 minutes and with their Bungie ID linked will earn the Astromancy emblem as a Twitch drop. And you can see it right here, guys. It looks beautiful. I like the blue aspect. It looks nice with the blue. Rite the 9 continues. Guardians, the Emissary, and the 9 still require your attention. After making all dungeons available last week and turning on increased rewards for them, we are entering a new Rite of the 9 cycle. All dungeons remain active and can be played at players' leisure, but only one of them has increased rewards active, so you can go back and farm for resources and weapons if you're still chasing some of them. We have another update coming on July 1st. The Emissary will start giving away non-honorary engrams that are filled to the brim with hand-picked cosmetic rewards, spanning multiple years of Destiny 2 content. Some are newer, like hollow chips, and others are blasts from the past, like Crimson Day emotes. Yes, you heard that right, Crimson Day emotes, which I'm very excited about because we haven't had Crimson Day content in a long time. So it's about damn time they've actually brought that to Bungie, to the game, to Destiny 2. Like, that makes me feel happy. Yes, bring it more, bring more, come on. I know you can bring more content out. This is perfect. Check the calendar below so you don't miss anything that's coming. Until June 24th, increased currency drops will be active for all dungeons. From June 24th, all dungeons are available, and one will have increased currency rewards and a chance for weapons to drop from enemy kills, as well as increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters in the featured dungeon. Week of June 24th, Spire the Watcher. Week of July 1st, Ghost of the Deep. Week of July 8th, Prophecy. Starting June 24th, the Emissary will offer a handful of exotics for players looking to round out their exotic weapon arsenal. More will be added each week through the Edge of Fate launch. From July 1st until July 15th, players can earn non-honorary engrams. Starting July 1st, players may purchase non-honorary engrams using 350 non-honorary manifolds at the Emissary, up to 20 during Rite of the 9. Starting July 8th, players will be awarded one additional non-honorary engram each day, just for signing in. Just be sure to claim it from the Emissary. From July 8th until July 15th, Lootapalooza will begin. I wonder what Lootapalooza actually is. Increased currency reward and weapon drops from enemies in all dungeons. Even more increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters. Melee damage is changing in the Edge of Fate. Hello there, this is Destiny 2 Sandbox team, ready to talk about one of the most significant systemic overhauls coming with the Edge of Fate. Additive melee damage stacking. The short version is, almost all sources of increased melee damage are buffed. All sources of increased melee damage stack at full efficiency in PvE, and we are using additive damage increased calculation for melee damage. How melee damage worked in the past. Currently in Destiny 2, most sources of increased damage in Destiny 2 are multiplicative. 2. Hypothetical 50% damage increase, a 1.5 damage increase to damage, are multiplied together for a total of 125%, or 2.2. Gosh, why are there so many tongue twisters when reading the weekly TWID? I feel like Bungie mixes up their words and jabbles it up, so then you can have a tongue twister like every single word that is said. Ugh. Let me repeat that now. Currently in Destiny 2, hold on, let's just take a breather. How melee damage worked in the past. Currently in Destiny 2, most sources of increased damage in Destiny 2 are multiplicative, 2 hypothetical 50% damage increases, and 1.5 times increase the damage are multiplied together for a total of 125% or 2.25 times damage increase. This approach to damage increase has some problems. For one, the more damage increase effects applied at a time, the more powerful they all become, which means that the best builds and strategies can start to revolve around simply having as many buffs as possible. This is a pattern we saw in Destiny 2 prior to the mutually exclusive empowering damage buff system for weapons. Additionally, balancing the game becomes more and more difficult the more sources of increased damage we add. We do not want to have to choose between bosses being one-shot by players who are stacking as many buffs as possible, or bosses feeling like bullet sponges to players who are not, which is totally true. How melee damage will work now. When the Edge of Fate is released on July 15th, melee damage increases in Destiny 2 will be additive. That means 2 hypothetical 50% damage increases will be added together for a total 100% damage increase. Now, this does result in a lower damage ceiling for melee abilities, and is likely that most bosses will ever be one-shot with melee abilities going forward. But because we do not need to worry about someone stacking these melee buffs and trivializing most content in the game, we can do 2 very cool things. We are buffing almost all effects that increase melee damage, some of them by double the damage they do now. In PvE, melee damage increasing effects always stack at full value if applicable. Our goal with these changes is to make it much easier to create a personalized build that works the way you want. Many potential combinations of melee abilities and build crafting atoms are much stronger than they were. We are very excited to see what melee builds y'all cook up in the Edge of Fate with these new changes. Systemic updates. In this new system, every effect that increases melee damage has been converted to use additive damage stacking. Every item that has been changed as part of this has been listed below, with a single exception. The new melee stat introduced with Armor 3.0 increases the damage of melee abilities when going over 100 points, up to an extra 30% at 200 stat. That's quite incredible. 200% at an extra 30%? Oh man. I should rephrase that. It's 200 stat brings the melee damage up to an extra 30%, which I think is crazy. I think that's awesome. That truly is awesome. The damage bonus provided by this stat is considered to be an increase to the base damage of a player's melee attacks and abilities, and is multiplicative with other damage increases. In short, if you're putting together a melee build, you want to get your melee stat as high as possible. Additionally, melee damage no longer scales scorch and ignition damage generated by melee attacks. The logic behind this change is similar to the logic underlying the jolt damage scaling changes we made a while back. We think it's healthier for elemental verbs to have a consistent effect regardless of the source that applied them. We have opted for a more targeted change here, and Incendiary Snap and Consecration Slam remain powerful options both as centerpiece abilities and melee focused builds and as potent damage focused tools in other builds. About glaives. As part of our melee overhaul, we are revisiting the role of glaives in the sandbox. We would like glaives to find a more permanent home in melee focused builds, where they provide a defensive tool to help you close in on your targets, and a faster and more potent unpowered melee ability than Guardians would have otherwise. That's right, Glaive melee is considered an unpowered melee ability in the Edge of Fate. Anything that increases the strength of unpowered melee abilities will now increase the strength of Glaive melee, including the melee stat. This does come at a cost. While glaives have a much clearer role and have a higher damage ceiling, we needed to reduce their base melee damage in PvE to bring it more in line with an unpowered melee attack. But even after these changes, glaive melee has a much higher damage per second output than unpowered melee attacks do. That's true. In short, if your build relies on unpowered melee damage, glaives will be the best way to increase your unpowered melee DPS even further. Glaive melee is now considered to be a type of unpowered melee ability. They now receive melee damage increase at full effect in all cases where an unpowered melee ability would, including the damage increases from Syntho Steps, Knockout, Offensive Bulwark, Combination Blow, Spark of Feedback, Worm God Karis, Banner of War, and Stylus Executioner. Glaive melee now triggers all effects that are triggered by any melee ability. They will no longer benefit from some weapon damage bonuses such as Radiant, as it's no longer weapon damage. Effects that modify the behavior of basic melee attacks, such as the Titan Aspect Knockout that can change basic melee attacks from kinetic to arc, will not affect the behavior of Glaive melee. Glaive melee damage in PvE has been adjusted to compensate for their increased access to melee damage increasing effects. Glaive melee damage against miners and mages have been reduced by 40%. Glaive melee damage against champions and mini-bosses has been reduced by 28.5%. Glaive melee damage against bosses and vehicles have been reduced by 50%. That's crazy. That really, really is crazy. Below, check out the list of melee changes we have made to abilities. Exotic armor pieces and weapon perks so they can shine in the new system. Be mindful that this list does not cover all the sandbox tuning plans we have for the Edge of Fate, just the melee focused ones. We are covering exotic armor changes in a section below, and we'll share everything about weapons and abilities in a future TWID. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. Abilities changes for melees. All classes. Prismatic. Facet of Courage. PvE melee damage bonus increase from 10 to 50%. Oh my goodness. 10% to 50% facet of coverage PvE melee damage bonus. Wow. Okay. All right. See what you did there, Bungie. That's a massive increase in damage. Talk about. We want to make PvE melee damage fair. But let's increase it by an extra 40%. That works perfect. Arc, Spark of Feedback. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 75 to 100%. Now works with Glaive melee at full effect. PvE melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Synth Steps, Liar's Handshake, Knockout, Warm God Karis, 1-2 Punch, or Winter's Gale. Titan, Roaring Flames. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increased from 73% to 200%. Oh my goodness, this is a mighty melee damage increase. Holy cow. As a note, Roaring Flames increases solar ability damage, and Glaive melee is always kinetic. We have opted to follow the rules as written for this one for now, so Roaring Flames does not scale Glaive melee damage. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Paragon Greaves, Worm God Karis, 1-2 Punch, or Syntho Steps. Knockout. PvE uncharged melee damage bonus increased from 100% to 160%. PvE charged melee damage bonus increased from 50% to 160%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Offensive Bulwark. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 100% to 160%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Syntho Steps. Banner of War. Melee damage bonus for user and allies increased from 40% to 100%. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Worm God Karis, Syntho Steps, or Glaive melee. The damage bonus provided to Blade Fear's melee attacks is unchanged. Hunter, Stylus Executioner. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 200% to 300%. Now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Now works with every melee ability if the ability makes contact while you are leaving invisibility. In other words, projectile melee abilities like Threaded Spike will benefit from the damage increase if you use it at point blank. Combination Blow. Maximum PvE damage bonus increased from 309% to 400%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Now works with Ascension PvE at full effect. Now works with Grapple melee and PvE at full effect. Exotic armor changes. Hunter, Aether's Embrace. PvE weighted throwing knife damage bonus increased from 200 to 300%. Let me read that again. Aether's Embrace. PvE weighted throwing knife damage bonus increased from 200 to 300%. You have got to be kidding me. 300%. Okay, Liar's Handshake and Spear of the Liar. PvE basic melee and arc melee damage increased from 200 to 400%. Oh my goodness. Ophidia's Spathe. Maximum PvE throwing knife damage bonus increased from 100 to 200%. Trend Vice. PvE Glaive melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 200%. Now guys, I want you to know, every time when they do increase damages like this, there is always an exploit in Destiny 2. Whether that be a weapon, whether that be an armor piece, there will always be a bug on that. So be on the lookout. You do not want to miss that, because I guaranteed when they have these buffs go live in the Edge of Fate, there will be an exploit for you to have. So watch out for that. Use that. Keep in mind on that. Titan, Heart of Inmost Light. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increased from 20 to 50%. Now increases the damage of unpowered and Glaive melee abilities. Paragon Greaves. Shoulder charge ability impact damage bonus against non-champion, non-tormentor, and non-mini-boss targets increased from 363% to 400%. Syntho Steps and Spear of the Syntho Steps. Melee damage bonus is unchanged, 165%. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with combination blow, stylus, executioner, and glaive melee. Damage bonus is still decreased against players when used with lightning surge. Wishful ignorance. Maximum PvE frenzy blade melee damage bonus increase from 100 to 200%. Maximum PvE Flechette Storm melee damage bonus increase from 50% to 200%. Worm God Cares, maximum PvE melee damage bonus increase from 275% to 400%. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when using with Roaring Flames or Glaive melee. Warlocks, Winter Gill, maximum PvE melee damage bonus increase from 275% to 400%. That is crazy. That is crazy, guys. All this percentage, you're getting like melee builds that are like 200% an increase. 2 times the damage. Which, oh my goodness, it really made a massive change to that. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with these melee builds, because honestly, having the damage increase that much is going to make a massive change, unless they increase the health of PvE bosses. So I'd be very interested to see what's going to happen. I hope you would be too. Weapon changes. Weapon perks. Close to melee. PvE glaive melee damage bonus increased from 30% to 60%. 1-2 punch. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 100% to 150%. Now works with all melee abilities. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Liar's Handshake. Increase the time the perk is active to 3 seconds. Exotic weapons. Bastion. Saint's Fist PvE melee damage bonus increased from 100% to 300%. Oh my goodness, man, they're really focusing on melee damage now. Now works with all melee abilities. Increase the time the perk is active to 3 seconds. Well, Monte Carlo. Catalyst melee attack no longer deals reduced melee damage to bosses, mini bosses, and champions. Winterbite now receives melee damage bonuses from a variety of sources. Reduce enhanced melee damage with ammo to plus 20% versus bosses, down from plus 50%. Okay, so the Winterbite got a nerf. So reduce enhanced melee damage with ammo to plus 20% versus bosses, down from plus 50%. So it's about a 30% damage nerf. Exotic armor tuning preview. We mentioned a bunch of exotic armor pieces in the previous sections, so it felt natural to go over the other exotics that are changing with the Edge of Fate. Many buffs and reworks here and there, and just a few minor nerfs to keep things balanced and interesting. Hunter, the Dragon's Shadow Anne. It has long felt weird how similar the Dragon's Shadow and Speedloader slacks are in their effects, with both centered on dodging to get stats. To alleviate some of this weirdness, the Dragon's Shadow has gained many of these stats and had its perks updated to fit better with the new suit of players' stats. The Dragon's Shadow now passively increased weapon stability and ready speed. Dodging reloads your equipped weapon, no longer reloads holster weapons. Activating your dodge ability grants the following effect for a short time. Increased stability and handling, increased move speed, increased sprint, slide, and ADS strafe speeds, increased class stat. Speedloader slacks. With the bonuses given away, we took a more PvE-oriented approach to Speedloader slacks, allowing hunters to be able to provide a benefit akin to Lunafaction boots to their allies to be able to carry around during higher-end content. Speedloader slacks. Adjust to the tight fit perk. Dodging reloads all weapons and grants increased handling and reload speed for you and nearby allies. While this buff is active, additional dodges increase the strength of the buff and refresh the timer. Dealing sustained damage grants class ability energy. Mask of Bacchus. Mask of Bacchus has always been an evocative and visually fun exotic, but largely is used as a PvP tool. We've made some changes to let you play into the Fallen Captain fantasy even more so in PvE, while also pairing well with the new stats. It's also now usable in arc subclasses and supers. Ooh, arc classes and supers, you say? Okay. All right, you have me there. Mask of Bacchus. Effects are now active when either an arc or stasis super is equipped. Reworked Light Shift. No longer provide a non-stacking surge damage bonus. Now grants plus 10% damage for eligible weapons, stasis weapons, arc weapons, and Lord of Wolves per stack. Stacks up to 3 times. While active, weapon final blows grant class ability energy. Kepra Sting. Kepra Sting has been a fairly niche PvP exotic for some time, so I want to rework it to something a bit more broadly useful and with more build crafting hooks. Kepra Sting. Removed automatic smoke bomb activation when using a melee attack. Removed true sight when dealing damage with smoke bomb. Added. Killing weakened targets create a burst of weakening smoke and returns smoke bomb energy. That's good for an exotic. That's really, really good. Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers have not been quite worth the time and investment in overdraw for the damage bonus, so we tuned that a bit for some better ease of use and a higher potential payout of damage. Oath Keepers increased maximum damage bonus from 150% to 200%. Now provides more of a total damage bonus earlier in the overdraw. Oh yes. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. Light Ranger. Light Rangers had a rough time with previous balance change failing to hit the mark. Despite that, we believe that its most recent rework established a playstyle that fits the fantasy of the exotic. However, its cancellation effect still didn't feel worth the investment, especially due to its challenging bug and how it damage scaled. So we've given it a bit of extra juice. Actually, a lot of extra juice. Oh, what would you have for me? Light Ranger. Fixed an issue where cancellation damage was not consistently scaling based on Voltaic mirror progress. Adjusted Voltaic mirror meter behavior. Now requires 25% less reflections to reach maximum. Feels more evenly. Block melee damage attacks now count as a reflection. Maximum cancellation damage increased by 50%. This is in addition to the fix above. Minimum cancellation damage increased by 150%. Now always applies blind before dealing damage. Updated visuals, audio, and timing of the blinding shockwave to better reflect its impact. Titan, Crest of Alpha Lupe. Over the past year, we have seen a lot of love when it comes to the new additions of things like the support frame autos. With the Edge of Fate, we took a look at some of the other clearly support-oriented exotics that aren't as popular to give them a leg up to modern sandbox standards. Starting with Crest of Alpha Lupe, we wanted to keep it subclass agnostic while letting it feel like the one-stop shop for the support Titan fantasy. Crest of Alpha Lupe added additional effects. Sustain damage while behind a barricade triggers another smaller healing pulse. Healing your allies grant barricade energy. Oh wow. Okay, so not only do we have something for the Warlock, which is Speaker's Helm, we now have a Titan healing burst. That's pretty good, and that's Crest of Alpha Lupe. Oh my goodness, yes, they definitely should have done this because this is good. Now you don't need a Warlock to heal. Now you could use specifically a Titan. Oh my god, and stacking that with Bolt Charge. Oh, that's gonna be. I just hope in PvP it's not gonna be terrible or in meta or hell. I really hope not. I'm curious to know how that's gonna go. Okay, let's continue. Phoenix Cradle. The next clear option was Phoenix Cradle. There's a lot of ways to generate sunspots, but it always felt like you couldn't create them where you wanted to maximize the effect of Phoenix Cradle. So we tackled that while also hitting on a very common piece of feedback when it comes to your Cradle-enabled sunspot and visuals. Phoenix Cradle. Updated VFX on sunspots while the user had Phoenix Cradles to look more clearly supportive to allies. Added additional effects. Dealing sustained solar weapon damage in a sunspot extends the duration. Providing solar buffs to allies has the chance to create a sunspot at your feet. That's good. That's really, really good. That's really good PvE build right there. Oh, mark that. Put that on your notes, guys. You don't want to miss that out. Oh my goodness. They really, really outdone themselves with Titan PvE exotics. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. MK44 Stand Asides. Stand Asides. Ironically left in the dust. This exotic lost its role with the introduction of Juggernaut and other changes that made the melee refund less valuable. We removed the melee energy refund on shoulder charge, hit, and the overshield while sprinting. These were replaced by more arc-intric perks that turned you and your allies into an unstoppable force. 44 Stand Asides. Sprinting with Juggernaut active periodically grants you a stack of static charge. Sprinting while amplified creates an area behind you that grants allies speed booster. Okay. I like it. I can manage with that. Path of the Burning Steps. We like how Path of the Burning Steps played in Season of the Wish before the previous changes to this exotic. To return to its glory days, gleefully frolicking with Polar's Lance, we added back some of its bonus damage by tying it to Roaring Flames. Path of Burning Steps. Increase solar weapon damage and solar ignition damage based on the number of stacks of Roaring Flames you have. Roaring Flame times 1, 2, 3 grants plus 10, 15, 20% bonus solar weapon damage and 5, 10, 15% bonus ignition damage. Stacks with Surge mods. Reduce the duration of suspend, slow, and freeze effects applied to you. Ambient Leap. Ambient Leap remains a potent choice, but we want to add a small nudge in efficiency that won't overtune the whole suspend kit. Ambient Leap. Now increase the duration of suspend applied by enhanced Dregner's Lashes. Okay, I like that. Actium War Rig. These changes to Actium War Rig go along well with the new weapon stat, giving you the option of building your loadout around the exotic to keep its new kill streak bonus rolling. Think War God or Warm God Karis for auto rifles and machine guns. Warm Gun Karis, Actium War Rig. Auto rifle or machine gun final blows increase their stability, ammo generation, and damage. Stack ups to 10 times. Higher stack counts expire more quickly. Now, this is going to be specifically a very good PvE exotic, especially used in raids. Actium War Rig, final blows increase the stability, ammo generation, and damage. That's damn good. I'm happy they actually made that change. Spirit of the Alpha Lupe. Spirit of the Alpha Lupe is also going to be inheriting one of the above changes to Crest of Alpha Lupe. Stoicism. Spirit of Alpha Lupe. Added, healing your abilities or healing your allies grants class ability energy. I mean, it's okay, not too much of a buff, but it'll do. It'll do. Warlock. Starfire Protocol. Empowering damage, as has been written on Starfire Protocol, has always felt pretty confusing. With the new world of stats, we figured it was high time to clear up this confusion and give this exotic a well-deserved boost. Starfire Protocol now also activates on radiant damage. Increase the fusion grenade energy gain from dealing damage from 2.5% to 5%. Reduce fusion grenade energy gain from final blows from 20% to 15%. Oh, so I see. So they reduce fusion grenade energy gain in exchange for increased fusion grenade energy. I can agree with that. That doesn't bother me because I don't use Starfire Protocol, so I'm okay. Wings of Sacred Dawn. With the release of the other items in the game, such as Mana Core SMG, we've seen some gripes when it comes to exotics that ask the players to survive while airborne. So, to give some help to Wings of Sacred Dawn, we've taken a look at just that. Wings of Sacred Dawn. Combatants are less accurate towards you while Tome of Dawn is active. This is similar to Mana Core's effect. While its Solar Super is equipped, Solar Weapon Final Blows now grants restoration and reload your stowed weapons. I mean, I can tell you one thing. It's going to be terrible in PvP. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people using... I shouldn't say a lot of people. I shouldn't say a lot of people using Wings of Sacred Dawn, but if now this bastard, this thing gives you a healing boost after a kill, oh my, that's going to make you 10 times as harder to kill. And I've already dealt enough with floaters on these maps. Oh, they're terrible. I'm getting PTSD right now. PTSD from the past 2 trials, weeks of dealing with these floaters in the sky. And now you're adding a healing boost to Wings of Sacred Dawn? Oh my goodness. We're just gonna die. We're all gonna die. We're gonna go downhill. These damn little floaters are gonna be like AC-1 Dirties flying in the air. Pew pew! Getting to you. Oh. No. I disagree with that, Bungie. Change it back right now. Change it back. I don't want that. No. No. I'm in disagreement. If you play with me in Trials of Cyrus, you know why I'm in disagreement. Oh my goodness. Fellwinter's Helm. For many exotics, it's been hard to keep up with the difficulty progression of activities, oftentimes leading to them being great and on power or lower content but extreme feast / famine and high difficulty activities. For weapons, we can usually help remedy with this on sustained damage effects, and in the case of armor like Fellwinter's Helm, an equivalent on hit. Fellwinter's Helm added power melee damage weakened targets. Applies a 50% weaken. Weaken effects applied by the burst via melee or finisher final blows are unchanged. Promethean Spurs. In a world with so many Rift exotics, it's always been hard to make a combo Rift feel truly good for how many hoops it asks you to jump through. So, with this pass, we've looked at an alternate approach to the combo Rift that will also let players hook into other atoms on the solar subclass to allow for more versatile benefits. Promethean Spurs. Rework the perk Embrace of Light. While its Solar Super is equipped, Weapon Defeat grants class ability energy, and Weapon Defeats in a Rift grant a different solar verb depending on the Rift. While in the Healing Rift, Weapon Defeats create a pulse that grants Radiant to you and nearby allies. While in an Empowering Rift, Weapon Defeats instead grant Cure to you and nearby allies. I can work with that. I really can. That's good. That's a good buff. I like it. I like it a lot. Boots of the Assembler. Currently, Speaker Sight largely outclasses Boots of the Assembler. Speaker Sight is similarly potent at healing allies, produces orbs to power your build, and doesn't require you to stand in a rift to get benefits. Plus, Boots of the Assembler's Noble Seekers are just not that smart. So, we sent them to college. Now they target allies more reliably, spread their healing out much more effectively, and give a more flexible benefit when they find an ally. See these changes. What do they have? Boots of the Assembler. Noble Seekers no longer spawn in waves and instead spawn at a constant rate based on fireteam size. Average number of Noble Seekers produced per 8 seconds is unchanged. It will produce 1 per ally in that time period. Noble Seeker tracking range changed to 40 meters away. Oh my goodness. Noble Seeker tracking range changed to 40 meters always, from 20 to 40 meters based on time alive. That's a long range. Noble Seekers will prioritize allies who have not been healed in the last 8 seconds. Noble Seekers can now target allies standing in the rift for producing them. Noble Seekers will not target an ally more than once every 4 seconds. Noble Seekers will not detonate when passing near an ally as an ally they are not targeting. No, I wanted it. I like that sometimes. It's good. It's really good. They will still detonate if they make direct impact with an ally they are not targeting. Oh, we're saved. We're saved. Never mind. I take my words back. We're saved. No longer grants extended rift duration on Noble Seeker impact with allies. Instead, grants class ability energy on Noble Seeker impact with allies, skills based on fireteam size. Geomag stabilizers. We enjoyed watching players shoot out beams of concentrated arc energy just as much as you all did generating them. But with the launch of the Edge of Fate, we are limiting some of the unlimited power. To compensate, we took a pass at retuning its sprinting for bolt charge. Geomag stabilizers reduce super energy granted by ionic traces to 4% from 7%. Return sprinting to top off bolt charge. Decrease bolt charge stacks required before sprinting will grant additional stacks from 6 to 5. Decrease the amount of time required for sprinting to start granting bolt charge from 2 seconds to 1. Increase the rate of bolt charges granted while this effect is active from 1 every 1.5 seconds to 1 every 0.33 seconds. The final shape Bungie rewards. We're almost at an end of the final shape here, but it's never too late to jump into the game, fight against the hordes of darkness, and defeat one of our biggest foes yet. Same thing for the year of content after the expansion. All content is unlocked for episodes Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy for players with the corresponding seasonal passes. As we approach the launch of Edge of Fate, many of the Bungie rewards available that require a triumph unlocked during this year won't be available anymore. So take this as an opportunity to not only earn them, but also to complete your journey. Check out some of our greatest hits of the year below. Last chance, guys. You don't want to miss it. Here it is. Acquire the one. All the sweet precious loot. We got Revenant Bungie rewards. Can't forget Slayer's Fang right back there. Sweet precious loot. You don't want to miss out on that. And then we have Heresy Bungie rewards. Look at that sweet precious loot. You don't want to miss out on that. Barrel Diad. Am I saying that right? Barrel Diad? Diad? Ah, I think so. All right. With that being said, that's it. Player support report. Known issues list. The Ascension aspect isn't working with certain armor mods and exotic armors. Crystals made by the Rhyme Code Rainmet exotic chest don't reliably grant Devour while Feed the Void is equipped. Enhanced Recycle Energy grants no energy back. The champ title has lost its gilded status. When speaking to a vendor, you can hear the ambient dialogue. Sometimes you hear vendor voices overlapping, which can be very confusing. Step 6 and 9 of the Drowning Labyrinth quests aren't able to complete it by just players. I couldn't even speak my words there. What the heck? I was like, oh man, okay. Where was I? Due to this quest being a fix between character scope and account scope, if you have an alternate character and make progress on the quest, you need to play it on that character to get back into the correct research paper level for your main character. Sometimes in DRLI's exotic mission, the Taken Relic can drop below the surface during the risk encounter. When damaging Shrieker bosses in the Center Doctrine dungeon, players receive critical damage feedback, but damage is actually regular base damage. Now I'm surprised this has not been fixed, because this has been in the weekly TWID for the past months. When tracking Ikora's Drowning Labyrinth quest, completion of certain steps may stop progress on the next steps. Sometimes the Tome of Want, a primary quest, does not progress after meeting Step 3 and Step 4 requirements. Memento shaders can be previewed on armor in the armor management screen. This is not intended, and mementos aren't being considered for use on armor. Segment filaments and Spirit of the Filaments can't grant Devour while Facile Protection is equipped. Do Vex enjoy art? Artists of the Week. They are robots, so technically they shouldn't, but they also have radiolaria in them, and that's kind of an organic, milky thing. So who knows? All I know is that we enjoyed this Art Deco inspired Vex art very much. Honestly, it's nice. It really is. Like you could turn this into a card. Like I really do like it. It's a nice art piece. It really truly is. All the Vex heads right there. Yeah, it really does remind me like a rare Pokemon card. Now let's flip it over. Does it have a Guardian on it? That's what it reminds me of. That's awesome. I really do enjoy looking at that. A triple kill movie of the week. Who doesn't love a good old collateral with a sniper rifle? Even better if it wipes the whole enemy team. And even crazier, that's using New Land Beyond, our latest sniping bad boy. All right, let's pull this over here. Let's watch it together. Oh, okay, let's watch it one more time.
Wait, did we lose last match? Or did you look at knocked down? Oh my God.
Wow. That's impressive. That's truly impressive. Big props to you, my man. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Block for Chu. That was a good snipe. Good clip. Good clip there. All right. And with that, this TWID is over. Hope you found all those changes coming to your melee builds and exotic armor pieces interesting. We are pretty sure some of you have already started theorizing about the new builds and combos that will be the most fun to play with when the Edge of Fate launches. Let us know what got you the most excited. The Destiny 2 community team. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the weekly TWID. I'll see you in the next weekly TWID. Thanks for being here, and thank you for hearing me out on this week's weekly TWID. Okay. Oh my goodness, it's over. It's over. That is a long TWID.